Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market, and let's figure out what is happening today on a pretty wild day. I mean, wild day in many ways, more than one actually for Tesla and the market itself. So with all that being said and done, let's just get right into it. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live on YouTube. The link is down below for just $2.99 a month. I post updates on Tesla, technical analysis, options flow, etc., thoughts, whatever, etc. Pretty much what you hear in this video, but throughout the day live, and obviously you get it there first. Again, just $2.99 a month. Nice and cheap in my opinion. Link is down below in the description. But jumping right into it, Tesla closing the day down. Oh, right down. So he's saying down. Up actually 1.68% on the day. Closing at 171.22 on the day, which, thankfully compared to the market is actually not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Pretty damn respective of a performance today. Almost like a mini short squeeze we had today because the markets are tanking. Well, at least they tanked in the last like half an hour of the day. Absolutely just puked themselves out of here. Very, very, not the best looking close for the markets here. Right, SPY and QQ down about 1.5% almost, right? So pretty darn good day for Tesla with all things considered. And that's essentially what caused this massive wick. Now, but looking strictly at Tesla and just strictly Tesla's, technical analysis for now. Let's talk about what happened, right? So, we obviously bounced, like I said, at the bottom of this channel, right? This was like the place to bounce. We talked about how, there's some decent bullish situations here setting up, if you will. And we obviously found a nice little bounce there. And we ended up going all the way back up to about the mid 170s, we'll say, which is pretty impressive. But obviously we know that this area, is an absolute like massive area of resistance, right? We came here many, many times, and we've had many issues around this general area that we just really cannot seem to push through too convincingly, right? There's a bit of a volume area around here as well, but especially if we get up to the higher levels, like for instance the low 180s. But essentially this is an area of resistance right now. You might be wondering, okay, but on top of that, why else is this the area we rejected at? So obviously we're pretty much sitting right around this trend line around here, right? We kind of roughly are around this general trend line right here, right? Which we did get rejected at right now, right? That's number one. Number two, if we bring out, not this one here, where's the 21 EMA here? The 21 EMA, we got rejected right at the 21 EMA as well. And probably my favorite indicator, the regression bands. Well, if we go over the 4-hour chart, like I talked about, right, we were in pretty much oversold territory just a few days ago. Actually, even I think literally just yesterday. We were pretty much in oversold territory, and we got a beautiful bounce right pretty much back to the mean, right, which is the white line in the center, and we're just kind of dancing around it right now with a pretty substantial rejection, though, to be fair. Again, thanks to the market being very spooked, let's just say, towards the end of the day. So the point I'm trying to make here is the fact that we're kind of in like the middle land right now, right? Where, I wouldn't say Tesla is overwhelmingly bearish, but it's not really bullish either here, right? Especially usually when it's trading within this like center range, it's, I don't care too much about the price action. What I personally care about is, if it really starts to fall into these categories down here, that's when, I'm starting to get a little more interested, right? I'm getting more interested in going long. Or obviously if we're somewhere all the way up here, which we don't really get there recently because Tesla's been so weak. But, if we ever get up into this area, for instance, like we did over here, I'm not interested in going long. I'm interested in if I have shares to sell covered calls or potentially even, look for puts, right? That's the way I look at it right now for Tesla, right? And that's kind of what we're finding ourselves in right this very moment. Same thing if you look on the daily, right? The bands were pretty much right in the center, got rejected by the mean line right here, which is again, roughly that 20-day moving average roughly. And on top of that, which I called out to my members here, pretty much as it happened, we're very, very over right here. The chart, 1-hour chart now entering extreme overbought conditions, and right, that's exactly where we rejected at, pretty much right at the perfection level of this band right here, right? Kind of wish I went, short there, but obviously I did not. But it would have been a perfect place to do it, clearly in hindsight. But again, we mentioned it back over here too. Now, the one thing that kind of constituted this rally was interesting. I also mentioned this to my members that I noticed something very unusual. I think it was this one here, 140,000 call, 170 call just came in. Okay, 140,000 in premium, 170 call just came in on Tesla, expiring tomorrow. Obviously, this coming Friday, right? Literally tomorrow. Above the ask. This is very unusual in my opinion. Is there some announcement coming soon? And you have to remember, this came in. Let me see if I can open this. 10:14. This came in at 10:14 when I announced that, right? Let's see where Tesla was at 10:14. Let's go ahead and remove this for now, right? 10:14, Tesla was at pretty, look at, what is this? This is weird price action, but 10:14 was pretty much right here. Tesla was trading at about once in the 169s. I announced that. I noticed that. I didn't work off of it because, I already had positions ready, right? I had shares that I have sold cover calls against. I have sold puts, 2 of them as well. So I'm kind of just letting my current positions just ride. I don't want to get too over greedy, but nonetheless, I noticed this weird position and I shared it with my members, and then it pretty much just rocketed ever since. So whoever entered that position, kudos to them. They made an absolute killing over this trade and just over this intra-day trade, which was a crazy day trade. I'm very impressed by that. That's a pretty wild trade. But nonetheless, the way I look at it, excuse me, it's pretty simple, right? We're still technically getting rejected by this trend line. Now, this trend line is a little bit of an interesting one because sometimes the issue with trend lines is they're somewhat subjective. And the reason I say they're subjective is because, okay, so right now I'm on the linear chart, right? This is kind of what the trend line looks like, right? It's kind of, cutting into some of these right here, not the most perfect looking thing in the entire world. But if I go over here and I switch this to a chart instead, you're going to notice after I adjust this a tiny bit, right? The trend line is almost perfect. Like it's perfectly rejecting these levels and including today, perfection. So that's kind of why these trend lines are, you take them with a bit of a grain of salt, mainly because they are technically subjective, where people can draw them in many different ways to fit their narrative, right? Whether you're log or whether you're linear on the chart can affect things as well for trend lines. So that's why you want to take them with a bit of a grain of salt. But nonetheless, they're both technically showing a rejection that did happen today. Right around that mid 170s level regardless. So, that is still important to understand. And, we did so far have an issue actually closing back above it and selling off a little bit more towards the end of the day. So again, the way I look at it is if we can officially close a candle, essentially, in my opinion, at least above 175 again, that will start being promising once again, because that'll also mean that we did break out of this downtrend more convincingly. And that's kind of what the bulls want to be seeing. And then of course, we can start making our way up, potentially up to about the 200 level once again, if that were to happen, with of course, in between that, we have the low-ish, like 182, 183 resistance level to watch out for as well, which, can still be a bull trap, right? To the downside, since we rejected, and technically we're still in the bearish trend here, we're rejecting above, below the 21 EMA, we're still in the bands that we're rejecting by the median line I told you about that we're still getting smacked down by right here, you can see, right? We still have the 5 and the 13 being crossed into the bearish side, right over here, the green and the red. The way I look at it is, I go to the 4-hour chart, right? This is why I look on the 4 chart. I bring out the bands once again, and I'll be personally, more interested once again, potentially going long on Tesla, at least at around the 167s level, but a lot more interested, in the low 160s and especially in the 150s is where I'll be very interested if we happen to see that. I don't know, probably not tomorrow, honestly, but maybe next week, potentially. We'll see, of course, right? That's kind of the main way I'm looking at it right now. Now, again, I want to take a quick look over here on the indices, because the indices, like I said, sold off substantially with a massive bearish engulfing candle on pretty much every indice, I think across the board. So an exceptionally bearish close here. We'll see if we get a small potential dead cat bounce tomorrow before this potential flush continues, because we are approaching some support levels, for instance, on QQQ right here, you can see. But an absolutely horrendous looking candle. We are starting to finally break below some pretty crucial levels on the market, right? We're breaking, I think, even below the 21 EMA. Yeah, we finally closed below the 21 EMA, which we did before, and we did gap right back above it. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. But, definitely some caution here, right? There definitely is some caution. The green is crossing the red now. You can see with the lines here. Same on SPY, right? It's never actually crossed on SPY up since this uptrend really began. Maybe small cross here, but nothing major. And, we officially now up. I don't think actually we crossed just yet. Never mind, I lied. But we're darn close to crossing over here for the red, the green going back down over the red. So, we're in a pretty, a pretty serious situation, I guess is the way to say it. If we go to the weekly candle, you can see the weekly candle on QQQ has officially crossed bearish on the MACD, which also shows some caution is warranted moving forward. Doesn't mean it has to crash tomorrow, obviously. I mean, it may, but who knows? But doesn't mean it has to. But, it just kind of means that a little bit caution is warranted here, right? We might be finally starting that correction, that long-awaited correction. It doesn't mean it has to be, right? This could be a false signal, of course, right? We had several cross downs before over here, for instance, that obviously didn't amount into too much just yet. So obviously, take it with a grain of salt. In my opinion, if QQQ, for instance, starts losing like this 433 to 430 level, that would be a little bit more convincing. But, take it as you will, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Options flow, like I said, ended up being all over the place. We had a massive flow of calls while Tesla was pumping. Then, towards the end of the day, right, with the massive sell-off, we had a massive flow of puts that came in over here. And overall, Tesla still looks, in my opinion, overall net bearish. So we'll see how tomorrow plays out. I mean, it held fantastically today, but there's still a lot of work to be done by the bulls, in my opinion, to really flip this train around, because it is still definitely looking overall net bearish. But a pretty damn good area to start accumulating shares if you haven't already, which again, like I said, I bought shares in the 160s, which probably will be sold away through my covered calls, which I'm okay with. I can refresh the position, but again, the low 160s is where I'm personally very interested, and especially the 150s to 140s. That's where I'm very interested. fundamentals. Make sure you ignore the noise. So there's gonna be a lot of bears right now on Tesla, because Tesla, whenever Tesla falls, there's a lot of bears that come out, a lot of negativity. It's good to ignore that noise and just focus on what you believe is the right course of action, and try your best not to let all those, including me sometimes too, right, dictate potentially what you may want to do or may have done if you didn't hear this other thing or this other, opinion, because, they could be wrong. I could be wrong, right? So take that into account. That's important to understand. But with all that being said and done, that's it for this video. That's all I got. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.